Welcome to the Daily ICPC. My name is Jared Altic, and I'm a chaplain with the police department. This is a limited podcast series from Hey Chaplain, which follows police chaplains Jared Altic and Jeremy Hockett to Spokane, Washington, to attend the annual training seminar of the ICPC, the International Conference of Police Chaplains. This series will provide a daily behind-the-scenes look at the convention, and this is our preview and introductory episode. Hello, Jeremy. How are you today?
Hi, Jared. It's good to see you, man. And I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's been a good week here in Wichita, so been looking forward to getting this event kicked off. So
you're going to be our co-host for this mini-series on the ICPC trip that we're taking, and we're going to Spokane, Washington this year. And you've actually been to the International Conference of Police Chaplains annual training seminar more times than I have. So can you give me a little bit of some background on why you're a chaplain and why you go to ICPC?
Sure. So earlier in my life, I had aspirations of being a police officer. And back in the early 2000s, at least in the Wichita area, if you wanted to be a police officer, when they had 10 openings, they had 300 applicants.
Yeah.
And so they had different criteria they were using to find the best ones that they felt would fit the jobs. And one of the things that most of the departments around here were looking for was a 4-year college degree. All right. So I did not go to college after high school. I was one of those guys that I took VOTEC classes while I was in high school. And even before I graduated, I was out working in a shop. You know, I kind of had my trajectory set to be a mechanic. I found out, I had several friends in law enforcement, and I found out that another way you could get in was to start out as a reserve officer. If you could get on somewhere as a reserve officer and you would work for free, and they saw something there that they liked, you had an opportunity to get in amongst all of the college graduates and have an opportunity to get, full-time employment. So that was kind of the route I took. I worked for the city of Derby, which is just south of Wichita here. I was a reserve officer there for about 5 years. And about 2005, they had come and they had offered me a job. And unfortunately, back in those days, being a police officer did not pay well.
Yeah.
And I already had a family. I already had children.
And you were already a very good mechanic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was well established in the field. And so, the starting wage for a police officer at that time was about half of what I was making as a mechanic.
Yeah.
And it was about that time that the Lord was doing some other things in my life and was steering me towards ministry. I sat down and I talked to my pastor at the time through prayer and seeking what God wanted. We come to the conclusion that, probably law enforcement was not in my future. About 2005 is when I really started helping out at the church a little more than I currently was. Took on the youth department, being the youth director, and
you spent, instead of going into law enforcement, you spent the next 20 years as a bivocational pastor.
I really did.
Right.
Yep.
And
really did.
So you were still, because if anyone's thinking, wait a second, did he leave the mechanic job for the ministry? Because that didn't pay more.
No.
The others,
no. No. Bivocational is definitely the right word to use for what I did for many, many years. Yes.
Yeah. And so years later, you are now doing ministry full time.
Yes.
And you circle back around to the law enforcement thing. So how did you become a chaplain?
So how did I become a chaplain? I've got a very good friend in New Mexico who's been a police chaplain for over 30 years.
Oh, you got to shout him out.
Yeah. That's Jeff Carr down in Rio Rancho.
Right, Jeff Carr.
Yeah, down in Rio Rancho there. He's doing tremendous work right now. He's really since he had opportunity a couple of years ago to retire from the pastorate, and he has just poured all of his energies into chaplaincy right
It's
now.
hard to find somebody across America who's promoting chaplaincy more than Jeff Carr.
Yeah,
that guy is enthusiastically pro law enforcement chaplains.
Yes, he is. So even back when I was a reserve officer, right, he was prodding me. You need to be a chaplain. You need to be a chaplain. I was like, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. So anyway, fast forward to COVID era, 2020, 2021. I had a lady in my church who got hired on as a detention deputy here in Sedgwick County. And her class did not have a formal graduation. They completed their training and they got shipped off, go right to work. That was a hard time for a lot of agencies. So one of the things they did was they told their class people that they were going to allow them to bring in a family member or a friend and to do a tour of the detention facility. And so we were just casually having this conversation one afternoon, and she kind of had expressed a desire that she thought it'd be pretty cool to be able to do that. But none of her family lives here. She's here, got a couple daughters that she's raising, and really didn't have anybody else. And so I just simply said, if it means that much to you, I would go on a tour. I'd love to come in and see what's going on, And through that initial tour that I took, I was connected with Lieutenant Clayton Barth, and him and I just kind of hit it off. And he said, "Have you ever thought about being a chaplain?" And I said, yeah, actually I have.
I've been asked that like 50 times now, right?
Yeah. So, one thing just kind of led to another. And Jared, I think I've heard you tell the story before that, you kind of feel like if you tried to get out of it, you'd be like Jonah running from God, and God would send a whale and he'd put you right back in there. And that's really kind of how I feel about chaplaincy as well. There's really been some things that have happened that have really shown me that this is where I am supposed to be. So I was able to get a seat in the peer support training that they were hosting here in Sedgwick County through FRST Midwest, a group I'm sure you're also familiar with there.
Yes. Yep.
But so I took the 40-hour peer support training. And this was all leading up to them putting a chaplain in their peer support group. I kind of knew that I needed something more because I had the great desire. I had,
you had ministry experience.
Yeah, I've got ministry experience. I've got friends that are chaplains, but I really never had any real formal training. So Jeff was and still is, I believe, a member of the ICPC. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of encouraged me to seek out training there. And July of 2022, I went to my first annual training seminar, which was held in Orlando, Florida. Mm. And so that was my first experience with ICPC. And I went into that not really knowing what to expect, but it was better than I ever imagined.
Really? Especially being relatively uninitiated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I had made application with them to be a member. I'd met all the criteria for membership, but they were in the process of getting ready for the ATS. So my membership didn't get processed. So my first year, I was actually a guest. Yeah. And they allow people to do that if you're not members.
Non-member participant.
Yeah. And I think my membership came through like the week afterwards or something like that. But anyway, one of the things that really kind of stood out to me was if it's your first time there, you get a little indicator that goes on your name badge that says, I'm at my first ATS. And so I had so many people, so many chaplains that walked up to me. They saw that and they stuck out their hand and they greeted me. And they were like, "Hey, this is your first one. Great. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from." They weren't just killing time. They were genuinely interested.
Yeah.
And you got, right away, I felt that camaraderie. I almost felt like I didn't belong there. because I wasn't.
A little bit of imposter syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have chaplain credentials in my agency at the time, but it was all working toward that. I took the basics and a couple other classes, that were available when the basics were done. I came back to Wichita and I took the information to the sheriff's office there, and it wasn't very long after that they decided that they would put me on as a chaplain in the peer support unit. For the last 4 years, I've been doing what I can to help out, and really building relationships is kind of what it's all about. A lot of guys say, it's a ministry of presence. I know you make a lot of roll calls. I've heard you say that before.
Yep.
And so, you just get in there and learn the names of all the people and,
spend time with them.
Try to be exactly. Go out on ride-alongs and do what you can to kind of walk through life with them.
I love that you interacted with the sheriff's office, and a lot of people in ministry, a lot of clergy, they immediately gravitate toward the jail chaplaincy, where they're interacting with the incarcerated.
Right.
And you instead gravitated toward the officers with the deputies.
Yep.
And both the ones working in corrections and the ones working in the street, right?
Correct.
Okay,
we minister to both.
Yeah. And so, but you're interacting with the actual deputies, and a lot of sheriff's offices that I talk to, they're like, yeah, we have chaplains. And what they mean is they have jail chaplains.
Right.
They don't actually have like peer support connected law enforcement chaplains.
Right.
And so I appreciate that you do that. Let's talk about ICPC some more.
Okay.
Your first one is in Orlando.
Yes, it was.
And then you went back the next year, right? You went back like every year?
I have been there every year since. So, man, you got to tax my memory here. Let's see. First year was Orlando. The next year, I think we were in.
Was that Arizona?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Okay. Is that the one where it's like 120 degrees?
Yeah. And I remember like saying out loud, "Who set this up?" And they do. They move them around to the different regions, and Phoenix, Arizona in July.
Wow.
But anyway, it was an experience. And at that facility, that was a beautiful facility, but it was really spread out. It was not all in one building, kind of like what we had last year. But this resort,
walking in the heat.
Resort was really spread out. And my room was as far from the commons area as you could possibly get on that property. And I literally had a 10-minute walk every morning to get from my room to where the meetings were. And it was already, 97, 98 degrees because it just doesn't cool off there at night. So, yeah. And
so what was after Arizona?
After Arizona, we went to Pittsburgh, PA. And after that, we were in Little Rock last year. Yeah.
Yep. And now this year's going to be in Spokane.
Yeah. I'm hoping the weather's going to be a little better there than what we had last year.
If I have any pull at all, I'm going to try to make every single ICPC annual training seminar is somewhere in northern latitudes.
Yeah.
Yes, I say we go to Canada. Yeah, let's do.
I'm with you there,
Maine.
brother.
Yeah. I want somewhere north. I do not want to be in the south during July.
No.
If it's got to be in July, I say let's go north.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. So what do you look forward to at an ICPC? I mean, you mentioned the connections with people.
Yeah. The connections with people is one thing that I do enjoy. Having been there, this will be my 5th one. So there are names and faces, you reconnect with each time. And it seems as you move to the different regions, it kind of draws a little different crowd every time because not everybody can make every meeting. And that's completely understandable. But there are some that are there every time. So it's nice to reconnect with those. One of the gentlemen that I really enjoy reconnecting with each time is Walter Person. He taught most of my basic classes that first year in Orlando. So I really appreciate the way he presented the classes and the information he gave. So I like to reconnect with him each year when we're at these things. I would say last year when we were in Arkansas, one of the more beneficial classes that I took was put on by Boulder Crest Foundation. These guys do a lot of work in post-traumatic growth. And so they work with military veterans. They've got retreats set up. And these guys, they do tremendous work. They had a presentation they did called Struggle Well, and it was all about post-traumatic growth. And I think of all the classes I've taken, I have actually brought that information back home and used it practically, perhaps more than anything else that I've really picked up.
I love that.
Yeah. And that's what I like about it. I mean, you go to the training, it's relevant. And I would say, kind of like you taking the basics last year, you've been a chaplain for 10 years. None of that was new.
No, but I still learn things.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still, and you get different perspectives from different ones in the room. So it's all good, right? It's all good. But when you can grasp onto something that you can take home and you can say, I can implement this to help people in their lives, to me, that's what makes it worth going to these training seminars.
I'm excited. I've got a new responsibility this year. I keep adding things because, I hate getting any actual rest.
Right.
One of the things I'm doing this year at the actual annual training seminar is I'm going to monitor classes.
Okay.
And so I'll be the one to introduce the speaker and I'm, taking attendance and, making sure people don't just sign in and then leave because we take the education pretty seriously. If you're going to take a class, we expect you to be there. If you have to use the restroom, if you have to take a phone call, fine. Yeah. But you got to come back. We're not going to give you credit. Right.
Yep.
And so I'm going to monitor those classes, but I think 3 of the classes that I'm doing are the basics.
Okay.
And so I'm doing the first and second basics class and then another one later. And so I get to see the people who are new to ICPC and some of them brand new to chaplaincy.
Yeah.
And I am so excited to like meet all those people.
Yep.
I'm like really like, oh wow, you're doing something really worthwhile.
Yeah.
I hope that our passion for it is contagious to you. I hope that you learn a lot, but I also hope that you feel like Jonah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you have to do this. You feel compelled to invest in these police officers. I hope that's what we convey. To people.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to be a part of that. I can't wait to see that first, Chaplain Basics 01 class there, that very first Monday. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've monitored classes a couple of times in the past, and I think I've got 3 I'm doing this year too. So it's always interesting when you get the person's bio and you're going to stand there and introduce them before they get up and give instruction. And sometimes you think, wow, I'm not sure I'm even worthy to introduce this person. Their bio is so extensive. But But and I've never had anybody act that way. Because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of them there that have got a lot of education and a lot of experience. And they'll sit down at a table with you and visit with you, and you never know. They don't have that air about them.
Well, if they're good chaplains, they've learned how to relate to people and not make it all about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, absolutely. All right, and then every day when we're done with classes, you and I are going to find some conference room or a quiet hallway or something, and we're going to break out the microphones and we're going to give a little update each day. And that'll air then early the next morning. And so people can kind of hear, what was yesterday at ICPC like for Jeremy and Jared.
Yeah, very good.
The two Kansas chaplains up in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Excited to have you on there. I hope, I'm wanting to just kind of show people a glimpse of what it's like and like who we've met and what classes we took or what responsibilities we had, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I'm hoping that people kind of see that and can kind of follow along because there are people who, they just could not get to Spokane this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm hoping that they kind of feel like, hey, I'm still involved. I'm still kind of following what's happening. And we're going to keep those episodes really short, just going to be like little 10, 12-minute little updates each day.
Okay.
And I'm glad you're co-hosting with me.
Well, I'm excited to do it, Jared. I really am. I'm saddened that Ward's not going to be with you this year.
I know.
I did enjoy
Ward.
Getting to meet him and visit with him last year. And when you contacted me and you said Ward wasn't going to be able to make it, and you asked me, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a good time.
You can be the replacement Ward, right?
Ward 2.0.
That's awesome. How are you getting to Spokane? I assume you're driving, right?
I am not driving. I am flying. I looked at that and I saw it was going to be a 2-day drive, and I thought I could probably make better use of my time. So
it would be a chore. It would be a chore. Yeah. My flight out of Kansas City is connecting through Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And I thought, Phoenix, there's no way, that's too far west. Nope. If you go straight north from Phoenix, you've only gone as far west as Montana.
Okay.
And so it is still not as far west as Eastern Washington.
Okay.
And so I'm connecting through Phoenix. You're flying probably out of Wichita?
I'm flying out of Wichita. I'm connecting in Denver.
That's great. Denver is like kind of a halfway, but it's a nice, in between
nice
spot.
little break there. Yeah. So the flights are not going to be incredibly long. I'm just remembering your experience last year, and I really hope
it couldn't be worse. It can't be worse. I had connecting flights both ways. Both flights got delayed hours and hours.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so it can be as bad, but it cannot be worse than my flights last year. Yeah, 100%.
I told my wife, I said, I'm really hoping that I just, being associated with you, that's not going to rub off. And
yeah. Oh man. I've flown a lot in my life. I've had some bad layovers, and delays and flights get canceled. I've had that happen a few times. Most of the time it's fine.
Sure.
Most of the time it's on time and everything's hunky dory.
Yeah.
But mercy sakes, last year getting to Little Rock, I should have driven. It was close enough to drive. I thought, I want to fly.
Yeah.
I should have driven a car.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, 2 years ago when we were in Pittsburgh, I don't know if you remember this or not, but 2 years ago, like almost all the airlines had a big computer glitch.
Oh,
like right at the end of the ATS. And there were a lot of guys that got stranded in Pittsburgh over that deal. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. Thankfully, I think I flew Southwest that time, and their stuff was on track. And man, my flights were right on time. But I know there was a lot of guys that did not get out of Pittsburgh when they were supposed to.
Yeah, I literally saw a headline this morning about airlines updating their computer systems. Not all of them have yet. A lot of them are still running like 20-year-old, 30-year-old software.
Yeah.
And they're hoping to have it by 2028. And so I was like, oh my goodness.
What a goal, huh?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Jeremy, thank you for doing this. I really enjoy having you as a co-host. I can't wait to get together with you every day and find out what your day was like.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jared. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I'm looking forward to spending the week up there, learning some new things and meeting some old friends, and hopefully meeting some folks that have been listening to you for a while and make those connections too.
All right, Jeremy. I'll see you late Sunday night in Spokane when you pick me up from the airport. And then we'll see everybody else Monday night and then each successive night throughout the week. This is Jared Altic from Kansas City with Jeremy Hockett from Wichita on the way to Spokane. This was the Daily ICPC from Hey Chaplain. And as always, let's pray for peace in our cities.